Hi, this is Tisch Aitken, and it is Tuesday, April 23rd, 2024. If you could please subscribe to my channel, if you like what you see, that would be awesome. If you think you see shadows behind me on this full moon in Scorpio, maybe you're delving into shadow work, and you may also see two kittens that are running around acting nuts. Okay, we have a lot to discuss. There's a full moon that occurs in Scorpio at 7:49 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time and 4:49 Pacific Time. And then you can customize to wherever you are. And it occurs at 4 degrees and 17 minutes of the fixed water sign of Scorpio. Now, you know when people say that they're generations of empaths or, uh, uh, I don't know, whatever they might do, shamans or, something. Well, I am a third generation Scorpio. I am a walking compendium of Scorpio energy. I was raised by a Scorpio father and, well, Gemini mom, and my grandmother is a Scorpio, and my dad's firstborn of his first family was a Scorpio. We come in droves in this family, and I'm very familiar with the Plutonian energy. And this full moon in Scorpio, the moon is in its fall position because it's exalted in the opposite sign of Taurus. And we are currently in Taurus season. And this is where, okay, we've had some major eclipse energy. I've heard of a lot of stories from people of shocking news, young people dying suddenly, unfortunately, job layoffs, things that are very eclipse related, big change, unexpected news, sometimes shocking events or news. And in some cases, I know a friend of mine's mother passed away. That was expected, but still, it's still very emotional and it's a buildup. And this is where a lot of these things happen in a more pressured and quick time. And that was a huge eclipse. That's the biggest eclipse on April 8th. That was at 19 degrees of Aries. That was exactly conjunct Chiron, the wounded healer. Okay. And it was also during Mercury retrograde because Mercury is going to station direct in Aries this week. So we're all reeling from the eclipses, and today the lunation, so 2 weeks before the eclipses occur, that lunation marks eclipse season. So in this case, we had a new moon in Pisces on March 10th at 20 degrees of Pisces. That's close to where Saturn will station later in the summer. It's going to get as far as 19 degrees of Pisces. So we began eclipse season beginning of March. We had our first lunar eclipse on March 25th at 5 degrees of Libra. And then we had the whopper of an eclipse on April 8th, the total solar eclipse at 19 degrees of Aries. Now we're in the full moon, although for many, the eclipse energy is going to loom large for quite a while because it was such a big eclipse, and the nodes of fate were only 4 degrees away. And Mercury has been retrograde since April 1st. It's going to station direct on April 25th. But let's look at the full moon. It doesn't like being in Scorpio, but it's a great opportunity to face those things that are painful to face, to do shadow work, to detox, do a detox, whether you're doing a liver detox or you're getting rid of clutter in your space. A full moon is always great to clear energy. It's completion, it's fruition. In Scorpio, really good for doing healing work. Pluto is the ruler of Scorpio in modern astrology. It is the higher octave of Mars, and Mars is the ancient ruler of Scorpio. Well, this full moon squares Pluto in Aquarius. And so not only is the moon in Scorpio, I have a friend that teases me, I always call Pluto, many do, the cosmic compost. It is about eliminating that which no longer serves you because Pluto rules the sign of Scorpio. But in this case, it's squaring Pluto. And bear in mind that although Mercury will station on around the 24th, it's stationing, it will be direct on the 25th at 8:54 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time at 15 degrees and 58 minutes of Aries. Now that defaults back to when Mercury entered its shadow as far back as March 18th, so right after St. Patrick's Day, Mercury was giving a preview of this retrograde tail, and it's going to remain in Aries through May 15th, so the middle of May. And one of my favorite people on the planet's birthday, his 97th birthday, the Swami. So Mercury will finally leave Aries altogether on that date. And this is still a review period because Mercury meets up in the sky with Chiron 3 times in total. They met up on March 20th. They met up about 18 degrees of Aries at that time. They met on April 15th at 23 degrees of Aries, and they're going to meet up a third and final time on May 7th at 19 degrees or 20 degrees of 21 degrees of Aries. That is right by the world point. Anything at 22 degrees cardinal, Aries is a cardinal sign. And more importantly, it's re-emphasizing the meaning of that eclipse. It was a solar eclipse in Aries where the sun is exalted, really strong, ruled by Mars. Mars rules Aries in modern astrology, being courageous to face your wounds psychologically, physically. Unfortunately, I have heard of a lot of death and health issues with this eclipse series, and with Chiron there, pay attention to what's coming up. If you're feeling ill, make a doctor's appointment or do something about it. Don't just neglect it. Eclipses bring things up, but it's also very much the psychological. Neptune. Well, Mars is the other ruler of Scorpio, the full moon today. Mars is 4 degrees away from Neptune in this full moon chart. And so that, and in Pisces, where it doesn't love being, it's good for spiritual practice, good for trusting your intuition, but it can make you feel drained and tired. Mars will enter Aries on April 30th at the world point. That's going to be a burst of energy, but Mars is going to meet up with Neptune at the final degrees over the weekend on Sunday. I believe it's early in the morning. Let's see, sorry. If it's on the 29th, I believe, at like right after midnight on Sunday. So right before Mars changes signs, it meets up exactly with Neptune. And they are, for all intents and purposes, conjunct right now. Getting rest, doing spiritual practice. This is a great full moon for journaling what you want to release. Maybe put something down on a piece of paper and burn it and let it go. Go to the ocean if you're close to it. Walk by the water if you're by the river. Take a bath. Another great thing, which I can't do because of these crazy kittens, is put a glass of water by your bed. They say often if you put it underneath your bed, and they sometimes hide there, so I definitely won't do this, it absorbs negative energy. So while you're dreaming and processing what's going on, releasing that. And so that's another good thing to do. If you're trying to attract abundance, maybe get a like a feng shui water fountain. I have one I'm going to give to a friend because, again, there's a lot of stuff needing to be moved around. I think I'm going to get one that I can just not have to plug in because they're really cool, the flow of energy, but also focusing on soothing yourself. Water can be very soothing. And Scorpio is a water sign, but it is ruled by Mars, which is why people think of it as fiery, because it also is Mars is one of the rulers. And it's a very courageous sign. And like Capricorn, it deals with reality. I think of both Pluto and Saturn like that. Pluto eliminates things, but again, it's not unlike Saturn. If it really is not for your best good, if it's meant to be released, Pluto doesn't mess around. It will keep rearing its head. Saturn, the same thing, like the Judgment card in Tarot. You need to deal with it and face it. And so this is about facing what you need to work on for yourself, taking care of your own needs. Going to the sun in Taurus, going to that Jupiter-Uranus conjunction that occurred on April 20th, that energy is still looming strong. And that also is, to me, tantamount to the energy of the eclipse, because Uranus rules the sign of Aquarius in modern astrology, and it's the great awakener. It shakes things up. It can be chaotic. It can be magical. It's unpredictable. As my teacher said years ago, expect the unexpected with Uranus. And eclipses can be like that too. You know that they're wild cards. A lot's going to happen in a short period of time, but a lot of it you can't predict. You just know it's going to be very busy and pressured, and you're going to get big news, and you're probably going to have a lot going on. The Jupiter-Uranus conjunction. It's interesting. Astrology and life are all about cycles. Well, they met up last in the sky. Jupiter is the grand benefic, the luckiest planet. Uranus is the planet of brilliance, electricity, shocks, and surprises. But it can bring out of the blue magic, open doors, bring a whole new vision, set you free. Why don't you, babe? Okay, so in 2010, June 8th, they met up at the very first degree of Aries. Well, something interesting to look forward to, or to see what happens, is on February 15th of 2026, Saturn will meet up with Neptune, and they don't meet up very frequently. They meet up about 37 years at 0 degrees of Aries at the world axis. Just like they met up at the world axis, 0 cardinal, the Aries point, on June 8th of 2010. Then later in the year, because they met up 3 times that round, on September 23rd of 2010, they met up right at Shiat, which is 28 degrees of Pisces. Well, what's interesting about that? Neptune is currently transiting there. And Neptune in this next year is going to be transiting on and off at the final degree of Pisces, more importantly, of the zodiac. This is something where, again, I think that's why a lot of people are leaving this planet. It's the sign of finality, and that is a degree of endings. It's the anaretic degree, the very final degree of a sign, but in this case of the entire zodiac. That's huge. And it is connected with misery and suicide and self-undoing. And for a lot of people that are passing right now, you can think of it too, that it can connect them to dreams and to peacefulness also, because Neptune in Pisces is in its dignity, and letting go of the pain. I'm not saying that this is great that young people are dying unexpectedly. I'm not trying to be Pollyannic, but knowing that their souls chose for the young people that are unexpected, because, we are going to see a lot of endings, and we have to, again, solar eclipse conjunct Chiron, the wounded healer. There is a big mental health epidemic. It's huge. Neptune, the final degrees of Pisces, it's all around. Homelessness, despair. But what can we do? We can tap into magic, music, being creative, manifesting, meditation. We are creative beings. The sun is in Taurus right now, opposite this full moon in Scorpio, ruled by the planet Venus. Venus rules Taurus. Beauty, nature. Look at nature. I'm going through something, I think most of us are, and I took a walk yesterday and I looked at all the beauty and nature around me. It is boundless. There is abundance in nature. It is infinite. It is accessible to us. And focusing on what you are grateful for, what you do have. What is painful for you? Are you in mourning? Do you need to go into therapy? Have you lost a lot of friends? Are you feeling anxiety and not wanting to socialize? Jupiter's going to be entering Gemini at the end of May, and will be there through June of next year. That's a very social sign. It may be technically in its detriment because it rules the opposite sign, but it's a lot about getting involved locally, going to take classes, learning, getting involved with your neighborhood, taking trips, getting out there if you're able, communication, which is so challenged, and Mercury meeting up with Chiron a third and final time on May 7th, reinforcing the healing mentally, reframing your thinking. releasing the fear. There you go. Full moon in Scorpio, releasing the fear, because that solar eclipse was a cosmic invitation amongst the cosmic chaos to be a peaceful and fearless warrior. You're going to have to be tough. We have to toughen up, but with love. And there's a lot more chaos at play. I'm not going to say it's easy. Mars meeting up with Neptune over the weekend, not an easy energy. At the last degrees of Pisces, check in on people with addiction and depression problems. If you yourself have those, go to a meeting, reach out to friends, call somebody, do something, meditate, pray, go to church, whatever it is for you. And so there's a lot to think about. Jupiter, Uranus back in 2010, and then they met up a final time on January 2nd of 2011 at 26 degrees of Pisces, close to where Neptune's transiting. Well, expanding the spirituality, and now they met up in Taurus. Jupiter is so very abundant in Taurus. It loves being in Pisces too. It rules Pisces in ancient astrology. But this is, again, is a lot of beauty in the world and a lot of creativity and a lot of magic still accessible to us, but we are in difficult times, and we're not done with that. And this full moon reminds us there's a lot to release, and it's heavy. And Mars enters Aries on April 30th. That gives us a charge that people are going to be fired up, and it'll be there for about 6 weeks. So, and Venus enters Taurus on April 29th. Well, that's lovely. Venus rules Taurus. So a chance to enjoy nature and love. Be good. Take care of yourself. Think about what you want to release to make space for joy. Clean your space if you can. Again, the glass of water if you don't have crazy kittens running around by your bed to absorb the negativity. Get to water if you can. Burn Palo Santo or sage. Do something to empower yourself. And good luck and thank you.